We are approaching 5 years of Ticket to Anywhere being a podcast.
And what better way to celebrate than being a nominee for Best Travel Podcast at the Women in Podcasting Awards?
This is one of our highest honors, and we are so proud to be included in this fantastic group of inspiring travelers and podcasters.
We do need your help though. So, if you've ever listened to an episode of Ticket to Anywhere or our travel podcast has helped you in any way, we'd love for you to vote for us.
Yes, to win this prestigious award, it's easy to vote online. So you head to the Women in Podcasting website, which we'll link in the description and show notes below. And after a quick registration, be sure to scroll all the way down to the bottom of Best Travel Podcast and select Ticket to Anywhere, which is us. Again, the website to vote is womeninpodcasting.net/ticket-to-anywhere.
Thank you for the support these past 5 years, and we appreciate any vote towards us winning the crown of Best Travel Podcast at the Women in Podcasting Awards.
I made that decision sort of on the boat. Like, I'm going to come back to Cuba really, really soon. And this is like the incentive for me to be able to start this tour and do it. So, yeah.
You manifested it.
Yeah.
I'm going to Cuba.
I'm Trizzy.
And I'm Leah.
And this is Ticket to Anywhere podcast, bringing you the gear, tools, and tips to equip you for a travel-filled life.
No matter your travel experience or lack thereof, we aim to be your first stop when you're thinking of where to go, how to get there, what to bring, and what to do.
Catch the latest episode every other Wednesday on YouTube or your favorite listening app.
We'd love to connect with you. Find Ticket to Anywhere on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Pinterest, and LinkedIn.
Welcome back to another episode of the Ticket to Anywhere podcast. I'm one of your co-hosts, Trizzy at TrizzInc.
And I'm Leah, LA in Flight. And if you know me and Trizzy, we're obviously very different travelers. I'm always down for a group trip, and I've been on many before. But Trizzy, would you ever consider one?
Yeah, I have considered the trip that I was going to do for China. There was a specific race marathon that included like the whole package from like hotels, meals, and the race itself. But it was really expensive. So I
yeah.
decided to just do everything by myself.
Yeah.
So but yeah, it's always it's in my mind.
When the opportunity is right. Yeah.
Exactly.
I don't
yeah.
think I mentioned this on the podcast because it was just like quick conversation, but I actually take group trips when I'm like lazy. But I
Okay.
still want to go somewhere. But I'm like,
Mhm.
I don't really feel like planning right now either because I just came back
Nice.
from a really big trip.
Yeah.
Or I'm just like this particular destination. I'm like, oh, I just kind of want to like someone to hand me everything.
That's actually pretty smart. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't, but those were not like planned in advance. Like a group trip for me is almost like not a last minute booking, but it's very it's a much closer window to travel than what I would do if I was like planning months in advance, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Right? So
Yeah,
if I take a
definitely.
group trip, it'd probably be anywhere from like 1 to 3 months from now.
Okay.
Whereas like if I'm planning the Philippines, right? I'd plan that like 10 months in advance. I think it's cool because there's a lot of experiences and what you'll hear in this episode with Maria the Wilds and her new group tour company is that there will be experiences that people probably never would have think to do in that place if they were alone, traveling alone, or even with their
Mhm.
friends. Like maybe they're doing an activity they never would have thought of. So it's kind of cool for discovery too.
Yeah, true. I love that. You know, these group tours, they always provide some coffee and tea as well, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Oh, well, you gotta start the day. You gotta get a midday pickup, you know?
And they'll let you know about the making of the coffee and the tea and where it's coming
Yes,
from.
of
So
course, of course. What do you have today, Trizzy?
today I'm sipping on a Moroccan mint tea
Oh,
from
so nice.
it's a tea shop out in Seattle in the
Mm,
Pike Place Market called Market Spice. So Pike
okay.
Place Market is super famous, super touristy. If you look
Mm.
up things to do in Seattle, that's definitely going to be one of the things that pop up. So sipping on it right now.
Okay, sidebar. I see all like the fish markets at Pike Place Market. You probably avoid those stalls.
I love to avoid it, but people that I have to take there, they wanna see it.
They
So
do, and, like,
I
your
yeah.
worst nightmare, if y'all haven't been here before, Trizzy does not like seafood. Your worst nightmare is literally, like, a fish head flinging onto you.
I know. It is so disgusting. I think my sister has gotten, like when we were
Like,
younger, we would take field trips there. I think my sister was chosen to get, like,
oh
a
my
fish tossed
god.
past her head.
Or,
Ugh.
like, fish juice, like, fish guts. Ew, actually,
Ugh.
fish juice is a really weird word. On
What did you
another
sip on?
note, Pike Place Market has a ton of coffee.
Mhm.
Switching gears to coffee, actually, this was a really cool find. It's Vietnamese coffee by Highland Coffee, see
Ooh,
the can right here.
that's a
And
popular
then
spot.
Highlands Coffee?
Mhm. Yeah. They have
Oh, I
some
didn't know
places, some
this.
branches out in Vietnam that we came across.
Okay. Okay, okay. Well, I picked it up at Island Pacific, which Island Pacific is a Filipino market, everyone. And I was just browsing the coffee aisle for some deals. And I was like, wait, I want some Vietnamese coffee in a can because I make my I literally like grind my beans, make my coffee in the morning, like a witch, like over the stove, right? But
Love
so
it.
in the afternoon, I don't want to work. I just want to like pop open a can of coffee. And so my afternoon pick me up, the Vietnamese coffee, Highlands coffee with milk. I got to get to Vietnam.
Yes, you do. That is your
I gotta get
spot.
to Vietnam. Yeah, for sure. Oh, fun fact, everyone, Vietnam is the largest producer of coffee in the world. Super fun
Mhm.
fact. Who would have thought? Everyone thinks it's in Latin America, but it's not. It's Vietnam. But we
Sweet.
hope you
Well,
enjoy this episode on why you should take a group tour at least once in your life with Maria Jacob, Maria the Wild, with her new company, Wild World Tours.
thanks, y'all. Cheers.
Cheers.
We have Maria the Wild on this episode today, and the first question I have to ask you is Maria, coffee or tea?
Oh, coffee big time. I mean, I like tea too, but, like, come on.
Yes.
You
And I
thrive
know
off of
Leah's
that
like a
caffeine.
coffee girl.
Okay, all right.
She rattles her little thing. Stirs ice
I'm one
slowly.
of those, like, shakers. I walk around and
Yeah, yeah. What? Trizzy, are you coffee?
I'm a tea
Oh,
girl.
okay, so
Yeah.
it was a divided room here, I got
Mhm.
alright.
Yeah.
I
very
see
much
what
so.
you set me up.
But there's a lot of our
Oh.
guests, they've chosen coffee, so
Mhm.
it's all
Can
good.
I just choose both depending on the time of day?
True.
It's like, first word that comes to mind, that's how it's supposed to be played.
Mm,
So I should
okay.
I should start saying tea or
Tea
coffee.
first to influence people, yeah.
Yeah, coffee or tea? Coffee. 'Cause you said it first.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, Maria, we're so happy to have you on today. We know oh my gosh, I've seen your journey the past few years becoming a creator,
Mhm.
doing, moving different roles. Now we brought you on because we know you're starting some group trips. We want to hear all about that.
Yeah.
But we know you well. Our audience may not know you that well yet. So why don't you start off by kind of like telling us about your travel style throughout the years and how it's evolved, if it has, and then you can just turn that into a little intro about yourself.
My travel style, love it. Yeah, honestly, I'm one of those like multiverse sort of people. I want to do everything in every capacity. So as Maria the Wild, I'm just wilding out in every single way that I possibly can. Let's say, the past few years I've done a lot more solo backpacking, which has been really influenced by like the community that I met you in and, people like yourself who are also doing the solo female travel thing. And I was like, "Oh, that's super cool." So even though I had a partner, I was like, "Let me go on my own and do the solo thing." But quickly I learned that like I might have preferred actually traveling with a group or traveling with a partner a little bit more because yeah, you meet people on the road, but like are you really going to like follow up with those people? It's kind of like a hi bye, let's party for a night, see you never situation.
Mhm.
So those are fun certain times, but I really do like the group dynamic of like group travel or just having your friends along. So doing a little bit of everything and going all over the world, but Asia's calling my name. So that's like my next.
Okay. But, like, you are, like, a fire dancer, you ride motorbikes internationally and domestically, like, all these skills and hobbies, did you learn this while you were abroad, or did you learn them at home first and then take them abroad?
Oh, good
You're
question.
just so multifaceted, I love it. I'm like, "Wait a second."
Yeah. I love people though that also have that like, "Oh, you've lived so many lifetimes."
Yes.
And like I'm 32 and like I'm getting there, but like also like I've done a lot in those years, so that's pretty cool to be like, "Yeah, I used to be a fire performer, no big deal." Yeah, I mean, that's one of those things, like, it's like riding a bike. So, I learned to hula hoop in college. We had this community that we started. It was like this hoop dance community on UC's campus, and we would just go into the, like, quad area and just hula hoop all together, like, once a week or something. So, that was super fun, and it was a great way to build community and just, like, learn from one another and get some fun new girlfriends. And then, yeah, I mean, motorbiking, obviously, I learned in Asia. Like, Thailand and Vietnam are, like, the capital of motorbiking, so it was really important for me to, like, get on the back of a bike first, and then I loved it so much that I then wanted to learn how to ride, and now I have my own in Cincinnati, so, yeah, it's like, as you're traveling, you pick up all these new things and learn all these new things about yourself, and I think that's the beauty of it.
I love that so much. You need to give me some of your confidence 'cause I'm always on the back of a bike, but I'm like, I don't is it weird? I don't trust myself to drive it. I, like, only trust strangers I've known for 10 seconds. I'm like, "Yeah."
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh, I'm a little drunk," or like, "I've got" I don't
Be
know,
like,
like,
"That's fine, just
"I've got a
don't
flat
crash it."
tire." And you're like, "Nope, I'm on, let's go."
Yeah, let's go. I'm not
You need to
doing this
get
alone.
a international driver's license for those motorbikes when you're driving in Thailand or Vietnam.
So those countries are pretty lax. You don't
Mhm.
really need that, but certain ones you do. Like I don't know if you know, but in Tokyo they have that little like Mario Kart racing through
Mhm.
the streets.
Mhm.
Like you need an international driver's license for that experience.
Oh.
So it's not hard to
Mhm.
get, but it's like you just have to be prepared for that.
Gotcha.
But yeah, certain countries are just like, go ahead, rent my
Yeah,
bike, whatever.
basically all of Southeast Asia.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I learned there because they
Yeah.
were just like, "Okay, you wanna ride?" Yeah, I do. I'm gonna try this out here before I actually go and have to get a license in the States, so
Awesome.
Nice, dope. Well, I'm a person that has never done like an official group trip that is like, from the start of the trip to the end of the trip. I've
Mhm.
only just done like the day tours and stuff. So this will
Cool.
be really cool to listen to both you guys talk about your experience and hopefully convince me one day to do something like that.
Going from going on group trips though to leading them, I can't
Mhm.
even imagine. So what was your sentiment around group trips? And like, did you ever travel in a group before, you held a professional role that where you had to do marketing for group trips and you went on a few. So but prior to that, have you been on any?
Yeah, so I think that my most formative experience was going on a study abroad to Thailand, and,
Mm.
like, looking back, I'm like, "Oh, that was me studying," but it's like, no, that was actually, like, a big group tour that we all got to take together, and so there was a lot of planning and, like, everybody's doing the same things and going on excursions together, so a little bit of that is now the inspiration for Wild World tours, especially my Thailand trip, because I wanted to bring people back in the same capacity that I fell in love with the country. So I, have experienced group tours in different ways. Like even I won a Verbo contest um, back in the day, and I got $5,000 to like use at any Verbo anywhere, which was so cool. So I brought a whole bunch of my friends to Costa Rica for like 1 week
Wow.
with a friend group and 1 week with a friend group, and I basically, like, planned that whole thing and facilitated, like, the Verbo experience, so it kinda gave me I was wetting my feet to the idea of bringing people with me internationally because I've always been good at trip planning, so, you know, my partner
Mhm.
would always just come along and I'd be like, "Okay, well, this is fun for me. I really
Mhm.
enjoy the planning aspect of it." And now I'm like, "Oh, actually, now that I've been on group tours for, like, my previous job and facilitated those professionally, I
Mhm.
married the 2, like, the personal trip planning that I enjoyed doing and then the
Yeah.
also, like, professional trip planning that I was facilitating."
For Thailand, are you going back to many of the same places that you've
Yeah,
already been
obviously, like, it's been 11 years since I've been there,
to?
so I'm
Mhm.
excited to revisit a lot of the places I first fell in love with, but, besides Chiang Mai and Bangkok, we're going to a couple new places as well. So I haven't been to Krabi. So I went to the Gulf side previously, went to the full moon party and all of that.
Mhm.
And I just realized, like, this other side looks really interesting, like with these limestone cliffs and just like real beautiful nature that I really would love to discover. So while I'm there, I'm like, hey, let me show you guys a couple of the things I liked over here, but like let's experience something completely new together. Cause that's the beauty of travel is like, let's all go somewhere a little new.
Amazing. I love how
Have
you're,
you
like,
guys
going back to
been?
your roots. I have been, yes. Actually, it's funny you ask because Thailand was one of the group trips where or not group trips, Thailand was one of the trips where I was like, "I'm going to Thailand," and I was doing this while I was living in Australia, or I went yeah, basically, I was living in Australia, I was coming home to the
That
US
makes
for
sense.
winter break, Christmas, and but on the way, I was like, "Well, I'm gonna stop in Thailand for 3 weeks." And so
And
I
so many
did.
Australians do that. I mean, they are just
Exactly, and then
romping
one of my
around.
friends, actually, she was like, "I'm gonna jump on your trip." She's like, "If you already have anything planned, that's fine, I'm just gonna, like, do whatever you're doing." So it was one of the only times or one of the bigger times where someone also was like, "I'm just gonna let you plan it." I was like, "Okay, perfect," and of course, we had the best time because 'cause we're
Yeah.
planners.
Yeah. I love that though when you plan it and then your friends are like, "Wow, everything just seems to be working out." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Yeah." Because I planned all of it. Like, I know exactly what we're doing every minute of every day. Like, yeah, it's gonna work out.
Also, sidebar, when I landed in Bangkok, my friends were pushing I was planning for another trip 4 months down the road that my friends were like, "We need to book this now," but I was literally just got to Thailand, but they were like, "We need to book it now." So I sat as an American living in Australia at the time, sitting in a hostel in Thailand, booked a flight to Costa Rica from the US. So I was like, "Okay," but I was like, this was probably core memory because 'cause I'm like, "What is my life?" Right?
Yeah. But, like, you're like that though. You plan so many trips all at once, like,
It's
everything
wild.
coincides.
I don't know that I'm that crazy anymore. This was like 7, 8 years ago.
Girl, you just did from
Yeah.
Portland to
I
London to
did.
Mexico. Come
I
on
I
now.
literally saw her in Portland, and she's like,
did.
"I'm going here, I'm going here, I'm going here." I'm like, "Okay, see you
I
never."
did.
Also,
And
you
then
never post in real time, so I'm like, "I don't know
I
when you're
never.
there." I'm
I
like,
saw a
"I'll take it."
quote on Threads the other day that was like, "If you see me posting about a place, that means I already left it." And I'm
Yeah.
like, "That's very true." So wait, actually, sidebar question, are you gonna be posting a lot in real time on your trips, the group trips? Like,
Man,
for
I don't
personal reasons, for safety, like, how are you gonna handle that? What do you think?
yeah. If I'm honest, I don't wanna do that, but I think
Yeah.
I probably will end up doing that because it is just, like, exciting, and I
Mhm.
wanna share that with a lot of people who are back home that can't necessarily come. Like, I've got a
Yeah.
lot of friends who are pregnant or, like, can't come on these trips, so I'm like, it's a way social media is obviously a way to still stay in touch with people that you're not always going to be around in the vicinity, so I'll try to. I'm like, I don't know, if somebody on my trip wants to do it for me, I'd be really happy about that.
Yeah, right?
Then
I
I can live
almost
in the moment.
yeah. So are we the relationships you have with, like, vendors, suppliers, people that you're gonna be working with, are you pulling from those relationships, like, from the last time you went to Thailand, or have you made new ones since then?
Yeah, actually, this is a new vendor for Thailand. So
Okay.
and Cuba, I've met them personally, and I'm super excited about, like, them facilitating a lot of the things because the
Yeah.
itinerary just looks incredible. With Thailand, though, it was a study abroad experience, so it just kinda lends itself to a different audience.
Mhm.
So this one's a little more of a grown-up trip, and not to say people that wanna study abroad can't come, but I wanted a little bit more like, "Okay, we've got a four-star oceanfront hotel
Of
in Krabi."
course.
Like
And when you can get it for a third of the price that it is in the
mhm.
US or the UK or Australia. Also, don't be ashamed, like, we know Thailand is the capital of gap year. Come on, like, of traveling on daddy's credit card because you were 17 last week, now you're 18, and you're like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go travel." Like, we all know
Yeah,
this.
rack
And,
it
like,
up.
now it's, like, 10, 15 years later, it's like, "No, I'm sorry, I'm having that 4 or 5-star experience in Thailand now." Like,
Yeah,
that was a decade ago.
yeah. It's like we did the crappy dorms, and I'm okay not doing that again. Like, this is gonna be a different vibe, and
Look at you. Go find
yeah,
White Lotus. Are they gonna be filming while you're there?
girl! I mean, if so, all everything's gonna be more expensive, so
They're filming at the
anyway.
Four Seasons Koh Samui. I don't think you're going to that side of
No,
the tour,
Yeah,
right?
Koh Samui is the other side, which is good actually. We stay over there. We're gonna go over here and actually enjoy the cheaper prices. Like, everything's gonna get crazy after they film there, I think. I
Oh,
mean,
yeah,
not that people haven't discovered Thailand, but it's like even more people are gonna be, like, inspired to go.
100%. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Okay, well, I wanna hear about Cuba.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those trips that it just seemed a little bit easier. Obviously, like, with the getting to Cuba thing and are we allowed in sort of thing was a main factor for me being
Mhm.
like, okay, it seems like a group tour would be actually a good idea because I personally have been very confused about how to get to Cuba. And so we're doing a support
Same.
for the Cuban people sort of tour. So under that guise, you're able to actually go. So if you have a group tour, they're definitely going to let you in and you're going to be able to do anything that you'd like to do and visit the Cuban people and your money goes towards supporting those people and the industries that they're doing. So I like that about it. I like that it kind of gives back to the Cuban people a lot
Mhm.
more. And yeah, I just think like the flight is pretty easy. It's an 8-day tour in Cuba. We go to Vinales Valley, which is like the mountains, and we go in tobacco farms and horseback rides, and we do pig roasts. And, we're partying in Havana, and we're also going to the beach and snorkeling and stuff. So I think it's like a nice blend of a lot of things that you maybe wouldn't necessarily get to see in Cuba if you just kind of went on your own.
Yeah, okay, wait, I mean, maybe I'll go, man.
Sure.
I'm like, I
Uh,
kinda need to. I was like, "Wait, how else?" Because I'm the same, I'm confused on how to get to Cuba, even though, like, so many people have literally written it out, and I'm just like,
yeah.
I'm still confused.
That was me too, and I was just like, "Man, it seems like such a cool country." Everyone that's visited there has said the nature is incredible,
Yeah,
the people are so friendly, like, there's just so many reasons to go, but it was
mhm.
always just a little hard, and, like, with this upcoming election, it's like, are we gonna still have a way?
Yeah,
Like, you don't know because it's always changing, so that's what's kinda nice is, like, if you are already locked in on a tour,
yeah.
like, you're gonna be let back in.
Okay. What are the dates for Thailand and Cuba again? We'll insert them in the middle of the episode so that
Yeah.
people can keep.
So, Cuba will be the first one on February 1st through 8th,
Okay.
and then Thailand is March 9th through 21st. So that's a 13-day tour of Thailand, 3 domestic flights all around, so we get to go all over and see a lot of the country. So, it's for the people who want to explore a little bit deeper and kinda have a little bit more PTO to play with.
Okay. I could probably do Cuba actually. Y'all
Dude.
catch me out in Cuba with Wild World Tours.
Okay, well, let's talk about it because that sounds really fun. Like, and I've heard that the men are very handsome.
Oh
So,
my gosh. Yeah. I don't doubt that at all.
I don't doubt that either.
What do
But
you
I need
say?
I need a firsthand.
Yeah, you're like, I need to go experience this for myself right about now, right?
Yeah, dip your toe just to see.
Have
No.
people like I'm curious because I get so much feedback about people hating. I've traveled with so much people who like hate, they rip on tours, even like day tours. I actually traveled with someone recently. He'll never listen to this podcast. So I'm like, he just like hates anything that's an
Yeah.
organized group. But I honestly, I think that's just his attitude. So
Yeah.
let's go not as extreme as him. Like he won't even take like a free walking tour. Absolutely not. That type
Huh.
of thing. Yeah, I know. I think it's just the attitude. But like pulling back, have you heard like the criticism, when people criticize like group tours and like, oh, that's not my style. Like I get it, it's a personal preference, but like
Mhm.
I'm sure you get a lot of people seeking answers to like, well, I'm on the fence, you know?
I can understand that, and,
Mhm.
perhaps I also turned my nose up to it before I had the previous job that I had where I was going on a
Mm.
lot of these tours and getting to witness, like, how the group dynamic will actually play out. I love the fact that, like, you will make friends with people that you would n honestly never think to travel with, and, the WhatsApp group still lives on, like, after
Yes.
you're still hanging out with these people or you're like, "Hey, I'm in Boston, like, I'm in your town, whatever, let me hang out with you." It's really nice because it instantly bonds you to these people, and you just have this, like, connection It doesn't even matter where you come from or what age you are, like, you have a connection. I made besties with this lady who was I think she's in her 70s. She came to Turkey, and we snuck into one of these, like, really nice ritzy pools together, and I was like, "I
Ooh.
love your spirit, like, thank you to do this with me because they were all like, "Of course they stay here, like, that's, like, the grandma and her granddaughter, like, of course they belong here," you know? And we're like, "We're just gonna sneak in."
That's amazing.
Yeah,
You
but
just
it's
gotta
like
walk in like you know.
to the haters, I would say give it a try because, you can always use more friends, I think, in life. And to me, I'm just trying to facilitate a tour with people that have an open mind to that kind of
Mhm,
experience. Like, there are so many awesome people that you would not normally get into conversation with. And on these tours, you're still going to have a lot of free time. So if you're not like
mhm.
glued to these people, that you're not I don't have a bullhorn and I'm guiding you through the night market, like, "No, go do your thing." We basically just have, like, a place that we all sleep, we can have
Mhm.
some included meals together, like, whatever, but you have your freedom to choose, and that's the beauty of travel, and I don't ever want anybody to feel like they are latched to us on a
Yep,
tour.
yep, absolutely. So do you have, like, an activity planned every day, or do you have some days that are, like, fully free?
Yeah, there's, like, at least 1 full
Mhm,
free day for each tour, but, like, for the most part, yeah, we have some optional activities. So, like, if we situate ourselves at the beach in Cuba, that's kind of like a free afternoon to do as you
mhm,
please, because not everyone's gonna wanna snorkel or scuba dive or whatever. Cool, do you. You might just wanna take a nap at the hotel, and that's cool.
mhm.
So yeah, we definitely want people to be able to, like, experience the places that we're at a little bit on their own time.
Okay.
Come with, let's talk about this
I
later.
know, I know. I know I saw you had a little discount code too, so I was like,
Mhm.
"Hmm."
We can give them a little code for a ticket to anywhere.
Yay.
Ah. The listeners, we wanna incentivize them to listen and
Yeah.
incentivize them to come travel.
How did you decide on Cuba?
It was one of those places where I was like, "It's high on my list. I
Mhm.
cannot wait to go," and so it seems like a
You're like,
place that would be a great place for a tour. I'm also just, like, starting to fall in love with all kinds of different places in Central
mhm,
America, and, like, if I'm honest, whenever we were on our sailboat so I did this whole sailboat trip through the Caribbean, and we were kind of in a rush to get to Panama. We left Miami, and we were like, "Okay, we got places to be," and so, like, we stopped a little in the Bahamas, and then we went over to Jamaica. Then I'm sailing by Cuba, and I'm like, "That's sad to me that we're not stopping in Cuba." I see it
Mhm.
from the boat, I'm like,
You couldn't, right? Where you couldn't just like, rock up in the boat, could you?
"You can, but you have to definitely, like, notify immigration, and you have to,
Yeah,
like, check in and pay sort of for
yeah,
every stop that you do on a boat, just like you would, like, on a cruise ship or something. They pay
mhm.
those are, like, included in your cruise ship fees. If you're on your own sailboat, you do have to do it the proper way, so we couldn't just, "Hey, we're here for, like, 20 hours," or whatever. We would have had to notify them, and it costs a little money, so we were like, "Okay." I made that decision sort of on the boat, like, "I'm gonna come back to Cuba really, really soon, and this is, like, the incentive for me to be able to start this tour and do it." So, yeah.
You manifested it.
Yeah.
I'm going to Cuba.
So in the future, are we gonna be seeing like a wild world tours on water as well on your boat?
Ooh,
Ooh.
a cruise ship partnership.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. I don't know
Yep.
about on my boat because it's, like, not big. Like, we didn't even have, like,
Private.
space for us
Not
to
big.
sleep. I don't know how many people would really even want that, let's be real. But, you know, the boat that I own that's in Panama, it sleeps 4, so I think that that's, like, kind of fun for, like, a small group,
Mhm.
and I've definitely been floating the idea of bringing people to Panama because 'cause I've fallen in love with that country as well, and, Central and South America are just gems in this world, and it's so fortunate for us as Americans to be able to access them so freely.
Mhm.
Really, really blessed. And Mexico is one of my favorite countries too, so it's like just to be able to hop on down there is awesome.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I love that you say that. I think, Latin America is incredibly underrated, and I think people are scared to go, and I get it with good reason. People
Mhm.
hear the horror stories. Unfortunately, all they think about is, like, drug cartels and Pablo Escobar, but I'm like, there's way more than that, and I just feel
Right.
like it's not given the fair chance, but at the same time, I'm like, "Actually, no, don't become Thailand. Actually, everyone stay away."
I know. Yeah, it's like, okay, do you want to be a little bit more on the beaten path, or do you want, like, actually a place that is a little undiscovered? And that's how Cuba feels to me, if I'm
Oh,
honest.
yeah,
It's like,
yeah,
"Oh, wow, like, it's really hard to get there." Like, there's still so many things that are undiscovered and, the roads are probably not that great, and, I kinda love a place like that. Like, that's
yeah.
how Guatemala was a little bit for me, and
Mhm.
I think that's beautiful. It's
Yeah.
like you're really, really getting an experience that is local driven.
Mhm,
Yeah, I think
mhm.
that, we're all similar in that way, that we want to be able to travel to places that are a little bit more like just locals and a lot less of the tourist path. And so anywhere that you find a place like that, like you kind of want to hold it. It's like your little gem. I don't want to
Mhm.
share it with anybody. Like as a content creator, it's like, no,
Yeah.
I actually would love it if this was just for me, and I didn't tell
Yeah.
anybody. Yeah.
As far as like the group tour goes, what does it usually include?
Okay, good question.
Yeah, like your tours and like other tours that you've been on. Are there similarities, differences?
Yeah, and, like, what you've learned from going on so many and marketing them, right?
Mhm.
And so
Right.
what you've done to your tours to make sure you have, like, that perfect mix.
Yeah, so I went on a couple tours that were a little bit more budget friendly and budget
Mhm.
minded, and so, like, there were aspects of like, less good accommodation, and I think a lot of people from the group didn't really vibe with that. They kind of
Mhm.
were like, "Oh, this is not as nice as I was
Like
expecting."
3-star accommodation, 2, 3
Yeah, 3 or
star?
2 even, or,
Or
like, 4.
2. Whoa,
Yeah.
it's getting into murky territory there.
Exactly, yeah, and, it's just it's about expectation. It's okay if people are, like, a little bit more prepared for that and ready for that and
Okay.
aware that that's the situation, but I'm not sure that these people were.
Oh,
So
mm.
you wanna meet them where they're at, right? Like, give them a comfortable stay, give them a lot of included meals so that they don't necessarily have to always, like, be on the lookout. When you're on the move and you have, like, a pretty packed itinerary, it's really nice to just, like, okay, like, we stop here, we all get out and we do, like, the dinner thing, and then we get back in the bus or, we get on our flight that we're going on together, and then we have some free time when we get there. That way, everybody's sort of just, like, on the same page and nobody's waiting around for anybody. Those are nice. And then included activities are also really nice too, because when you get there, you don't really want the additional fee of, "Oh,
Mhm.
this snorkel tour is, like, actually, like, 200 extra dollars or something stupid. Oh, I probably just won't do that." Like, you know
Mhm.
what? It's nice when you just all go and you're like, "Hey, snorkel tour on me." Like,
Mhm.
Right, you don't even see the money.
yeah, exactly. Just come on with,
What's wrong?
it's already part of this. Like, let's all do this together, and that's what's fun. Yeah, so I think including a lot of things that you people don't realize that they don't wanna actually pay extra. Like,
Mhm,
once you get there, you've already budgeted for this trip, it's like, no, you actually want a lot of the things to be, like, a part of this tour. So,
Mhm.
that's something that I found in my market research of being on these tours
mhm.
already. One thing I did that was, like, an extra fee that was really fun and definitely worth the money, but it was a lot, was in Turkey when we did the Cappadocia hot air balloon ride.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you can't not do that, and it's okay that
Right.
it's an optional thing, but it's like, man, it was $300 for
Mhm.
us to
Oh
get
my
up
that's
per
gringo
person.
pricing, right? That's gotta
That's what I'm
be.
saying, like, it
I'm
was
like,
kinda nuts.
"That's extortion, no?" Like,
You would think so, like, that's how it felt.
ouch.
It's one of those bucket list places that, like, people all
Yeah.
wanna do and go, but man, if it was an included price and it got, like, that group tour discount ahead of time or something, just count the
Mhm.
numbers, see how many people actually wanna go with you.
Mhm,
That makes a little bit more sense, like, I think you'd be able to actually save some money that way.
mhm.
So, yeah, just those, like, hidden costs are hard for
Yeah,
people to swallow, I think. So it's
yeah.
nice to have included things. In my particular tours, like I said, like for Thailand, we're doing 3 domestic flights
Mhm.
because, you could have the option, of course, like, I've taken the train from Bangkok up to Chiang Mai. There's an overnight train, and it
Like
literally
30 hours, no?
that's what I'm saying, like, it
For
was,
bu
like, overnight, and I couldn't sleep anyway because it's, like, jaggedy, like,
Yeah.
it's rickety, it's throwing you around. I had the top bunk, and these little old ladies, like, got the bottom, and I was like, "I'm so jealous of you, because on the top, you're just, like, sweating with the
Oh my god.
all night, and I'm so scared it's gonna derail." So, like, yes, you could do that, you could save money, but, like, do at what cost?
100%. Do you know could you remember at all how much that train cost you?
Oh god, no. I'm sure it was probably, like, $20 or something,
Okay,
like, if you're not trying to spend a lot of time on the road in transit and you want a good night's sleep, it's like, okay, just pay whatever it costs for, like, the domestic flight, an
100%,
hour to get to the mountain and
100%.
you're there, so
Let me tell you, I took flights all over Thailand, and this was, like, 2017, December 2017,
mm,
prime travel, golden age of travel,
yeah,
right? I took
2017 was the best.
It was 2017 golden age of travel. I remember taking domestic flights because I only had 3 weeks, and I'm like, "I'm trying to hit a lot in 3 weeks," which just because 'cause I'm like, "I don't know when I'm ever gonna have time to come back to Thailand again," right?
Mhm.
So, I was like, "I'm just gonna get the flights everywhere." Every single one-way flight was, like, less than $80. We flew Bangkok Air, which I think was pretty much my, like one of my favorite airlines of all time. And I was just like, "This is golden." Like,
Mhm.
check-in was so easy, getting on is so
Yeah.
easy, it's so quick, and, like, it was one of my first solo trips where I, like, wasn't trying to save coin and, like, take 30-hour buses, and I heard all these horror stories of people. I'm like, I'm
Right.
still in that broke backpacker, like, bougie backpacker stage, but I was like, "Nah, I didn't have time this trip to take those buses." I flew.
Oh,
Like, I
fully.
flew everywhere, so
Good for you, because a lot of people will still do that, and then they're like, "Man, I'm, like, broken, my back hurts so bad." I'm like, "Yeah."
You're
You know?
broke and you're broke.
Yeah.
broke.
Like, no need for that, like, just
No.
upgrade a little bit. They're really not
Yeah,
that expensive of flights or anything, and,
right.
I actually have found that there are some really nice airlines, even the small domestic ones when you're overseas,
Yes.
like, you will be
100%.
surprised at how good the service is, so, something to experience too, a little bit of
Mhm.
luxury in your life,
Oh, yeah.
but yeah, literally, like, the day before we went on that train, it derailed, so, like, can't even believe we made that decision.
Oh my gosh, and you knew? Like, you knew before you got on the
I
train?
remember going into it being like, "I hope this doesn't derail," and that's probably why, like, half the reason I couldn't sleep. 'Cause I'm
Oh
like,
my gosh.
"Are we
Oh
gonna
my
hop off
gosh.
the tracks?" Like
That is actually, that's one of my girlfriends, another sidebar story, one of my girlfriends took a bus in Vietnam. I haven't been to Vietnam yet, but she said,
mm.
and she's experienced traveler, like, been traveling 25 years, and she said she was, like, in a van bus, and it was so bumpy, and the driver was so crazy. She literally, like, called her dad back in Australia and was like, "I think I might die on this
Aw,
trip." She did, she's like, "And I'm this is the first time in my life on transportation that I'm actually scared. So, like,
Damn.
if I go out, I just wanna let you know I love you and tell
aw.
the family." I was like, "That's terrible." I was like, "Oh my god, I have never been on any ride." Even the ferries between the Gillies and Bali, I have never been on any transportation that has made me been like, "Let me call my family. I think this might be the end."
Oh my god, no, I
You
don't think
know,
I
it was like,
I mean, maybe okay, like, maybe that train ride, but, like, also,
"What?"
"Alright, well, fuck it."
I was like, "Is this comparable, Maria?" The
Oh,
tr
that's so scary.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're talking about, like, literally almost flipping off the top bunk in the train. I'm like, "That sounds terrifying,"
Yeah,
because
I know,
that
and
got some
also, like,
height.
on that trip it's like I realized, okay, like we talked about long bus rides in Guatemala, it was
Mhm.
basically the same thing, like, we took one when we were exploring from Thailand to Laos, and we, like, come back on this bus, and I had just gotten food poisoning in Laos, like, I had the worst 24 hours
Oh,
of my
no.
life, but, like, my whole group's leaving in this, like, minibus that we basically rented, and they're like, "Well," they were probably, like, pretty excited for me to not go and, like, pack in because we were literally, like, packed in like sardines.
Mhm.
They're probably like, "Oh, please don't come." But it's like, how else am I gonna get back to classes and stuff? So it's like,
Right.
I got food poisoning, I'm on this bus, don't even care, I have to get back somehow. So, like, had I known that I could have just flown or done something else,
Right.
like,
Right.
that would have been the premium experience. So, I don't wanna put people in those situations if they're, like, kinda new to travel. It's like, "Hey,
Yeah. Yeah.
we're gonna, face some
That's
demons
true.
probably, but, like, that doesn't have to be one of them."
Yeah.
Mhm.
Ah, that actually reminded me when people sign up or you do like an attendee intake type of questionnaire for your tours, you ask people like their traveling experience, like their comfort level and so you can kind of get the gist of like what level of travelers you're bringing
Yeah.
on these tours.
I think that'll be good. Like, I'll definitely ask them, their dietary preferences and everything a little bit down the
Mhm.
road, but, like, I'm not trying to rule anybody out. I very
Mhm.
much so want this to be inclusive to anybody that's, like, curious about Thailand or Cuba and just hasn't really had the confidence or maybe, like, the partners or friends to be able to go with.
Mhm.
Like, I don't care if you haven't really traveled. That's the whole beauty of this group tour
Mhm.
is that we're kind of leading you there and giving you the confidence to
Mhm.
make that happen for yourself. Like, very much so wouldn't want to put on my application, like, how experienced of a traveler are you? Are
Right.
you a content creator? Like, are you this or that or this? And they're like, "Oh, I'm none of those things. Like, I guess I can't go." Like,
Oh,
people
yeah.
would
Right.
hate that. Don't want that.
Yeah. You don't want an application or like a info form to scare people away.
You're
Yeah.
like, "Please bring your ring light and your
Yeah.
tripod."
Must bring ring
Yes.
light.
Maybe some, like, antidiuretics. That's
Yeah.
pretty much my only advice.
Yes. That
But
stays with me 24/7 when I'm on a trip.
that's smart. Yeah. I mean, how was, like, going to China? Was that
That
did
was
you need
amazing.
did you need any medicine
So,
or you were, like, pretty good,
I was
healthy?
pretty good, yeah, I was pretty good, but then I also, like, always watch out for
Mm.
stuff that I do, especially when we were in Indonesia. I made sure I'm not drinking or putting
Yeah,
the water on my
yeah.
toothbrush or rinsing with non-tap water and stuff. Um, but China was easy. Everything was fine,
That's great.
safe, yeah. I got lucky, I guess.
No, I'm so jealous. I was just thinking about Indonesia where, Maria, I spent 3 weeks in Indonesia. First week by myself, second week with family and friends, third week by myself. The only time I got sick, guess the time I got sick?
With your friends.
Yes,
Great,
100%.
great.
100%. The only time I got sick was when I was with other people because we were going to all these, like, Western restaurant, blah, blah, blah. But it wasn't only me, everyone was getting sick. But I was
Well,
like,
that's no good.
"Is if this is
Mhm.
not a case for solo travel, then"
Yeah, there you go. Ditch everybody else. But that'd be nice though to, like, be sick and have all your people there with you to kinda take care of you.
Mhm.
You're
I
like,
would say the key to avoiding, really severe stomach problem is taking those Pepto-Bismol capsules every day because
"That's
it
smart."
coats your
Okay.
stomach. It coats your
Mhm.
stomach, so even if you do get sick, it's not as bad.
Pro tip,
There you
We
go.
should need
that's
this
smart.
maybe you can give out a little goodie bag, Maria, on your tours. Like, "Here's some
Yeah.
Pepto-Bismol capsules for
Oh,
people to take daily."
absolutely, I'm gonna load these people up. I got the recommendations, I've been around the block, and I for sure wanna, like, ease people in,
Yeah.
I don't want anybody to have diarrhea the entire time. That was like
It's
Right.
like, I don't wanna deal with that.
Mm-mm.
I
Mm-mm.
mean, like, I'm not dealing with that, but, like,
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't want you to deal with that.
Yeah. I love
Not
how both your tours is, like, somewhere you've been and then some place that's completely gonna be new to you
Yes.
and all
Yeah.
your, people as well.
Yeah, I had considered other places that I've obviously traveled and absolutely loved, and I'm sure those will come too. Like, I think
Mhm.
Turkey's on the horizon for the fall of next year as well, because I
Nice.
absolutely love it and went on a tour there and, I'm really ready to go back, but at the same time, it's like what excites me in my spirit, it's Thailand is calling my name, I need to go
Mhm.
back there, I've had a piece of my heart there since 2013, and Cuba is calling my name mostly because I just know that I'm gonna absolutely love it, and the vibes are right, and I just
Mhm.
can't wait to go with some people who are also feeling the same pull. 2025 is gonna be a great year.
Yeah, year of the Wild World Tours with
Yes.
Maria the
Mhm.
Wilds.
Got a
Alright.
wild heart, come on through.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Alright, should we jump into the ticket to anywhere?
Rapid
Quick to
fire?
answer? Yeah.
Yes, let's go. The T2A,
This
Q2A ticket to anywhere quick to answer segment.
Mhm.
Okay.
First one, do you have any rituals or routines upon arriving in a new place?
Ooh. I think that I wanna always, like, walk around the block. I get to my hotel, whatever, I wanna walk around the block. I look for some street food. I look for some things, I'm scoping it
Yeah.
out. So, that's, like, usually what I'll do. I'll be like, "Okay, let me go get some fruit or something nearby."
Yeah.
Yeah,
Some
I
street
Love
really like
it.
fruit.
acquainted. Yeah.
I love it. All right. What do you believe is the most underrated place that you've been?
Honestly, I feel like there's a lot of people that don't know the beauty of Taiwan.
Mm.
Ah, they don't. You
I
need to tell
know.
them.
That's what I'm saying. I lived there. Taught English there for about 10 months. Yeah.
Wait, I did not know this. We didn't know this about you.
I'm sorry, I don't I guess I don't advertise this that much. It seems like a world away. It was 2016, and I was in Taichung, Taiwan, teaching kindergarten,
Oh my
so had
god.
a lot of fun there, and, I mean, I'm, excited to visit mainland China at some point, but, like, Taiwan was just, like, so incredibly cool. They have
Mhm.
high-speed trains everywhere, like, it's a very
Yeah.
modern city that I was in, a lot of modern cities like
Mhm.
Taipei, and beautiful parks that you can go hiking. Like they have really high mountain peaks and just like really awesome nature. And then also just like being able to take a car, you can rent a car and like literally drive it around
Mhm.
the island and visit the beaches in the south and stuff too. So it's really cool and just people don't recognize like what it is and what's
Mhm.
great about it. So I'm a person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel
100%
like I
agree.
feel like they just, like, see it as great street food rather than
Yeah.
all the nature and stuff that's outside.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm not mad at their street food either, but,
Mhm,
like
yep, 100%.
yeah, there's a lot of cool things to do
Yeah,
there, so
definitely.
it's a rich culture. A lot of people need to check it out, and also, sometimes people don't even recognize Taiwan as a country, like, there'll be a list of, like,
Mm.
Mhm.
"Oh, what are the countries you visited?" And it's China. I'm like, "That is not cool. Don't do
Yeah.
that."
Yeah.
No, you gotta keep them separate for sure.
Mhm.
Maybe there's a Taiwan Wild World tour coming up, you know? You never know, we gotta
Absolutely, I would
be on the
love to go back.
lookout.
I would love to bring people there and go back, obviously. It's just also, like, I wanna ensure that I'm connecting with locals and making sure that I have a local provider that I
Mhm.
recommend and trust, so developing those relationships are gonna be it's a road. It's a
Mhm.
road ahead. This is my entrepreneurial journey, so I'm really excited to continue to develop Wild World Tours, but yeah, I mean, all of that. I can't wait to go everywhere with everybody, so just stay
Perfect.
tuned.
I
Love
love
it.
it.
Staying
When
tuned for sure. Alright. Do you have a favorite travel credit card?
I'm such a newbie with this. I'm not like okay, I'm not well versed in it. I have read all about it and everything, but I still am just like so afraid to pull the trigger on those $500 ones.
Mhm.
Yeah, we feel you.
So I have not done those, but like I always put my pretty much all of my expenses on my
Mhm.
Capital One venture
Okay.
Okay.
or my
Good.
Chase Freedom something.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Well, I
Mhm.
forget what they're called, but it's like the ones that are like $95, so
Yeah.
that felt like a
Yeah.
reasonable price to me.
Still
Those are both
something.
solid cards. Those are solid cards, though. Maria the Wild, founder of Wild Road Tours, can you please let everyone know where they can find you?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm at Maria the Wild on Instagram, TikTok, Threads, YouTube. But you can also find Wild World Tours. It's wildworldtours.info. And we also have an Instagram at Wild World Tours.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you,
you
Maria.
guys.
We appreciate you. We'll see you in Cuba and Thailand.
Oh my
Yeah,
God,
we
please.
will.
Let's go salsa in. Let's go.
This is Trizzy at TrizzInc.
This is Leah at LA in Flight.
To find even more travel tips on budgeting, destinations, and our favorite items, sign up for our monthly newsletter, The Check-In, linked in the show notes or description.
This is the Ticket to Anywhere podcast. Thanks for listening.